We're joined by Atomos. Atomos is a global software and hardware tech company that creates, develops and commercialises groundbreaking products for the rapidly growing content creation market. The business was founded in 2010 when it created the world's first video monitor recorder. Now Atomos works alongside an ever-expanding ecosystem of key tech providers that includes Apple, Adobe, Sony, Canon, JVC Kenwood, Nikon, FUJIFILM and Panasonic. The company has been part of the rapid democratisation and expansion of high quality and accessible video content creation. Today's conference is streamed using the Shogun 7, which is a product of Atomos. The Shogun 7 delivers mind-blowing HDR monitoring, recording and playback and seamless multi-camera switching, which you'll see in action in the upcoming live stream. Atomos will also be showcasing its Ninja 5 HDR monitor recorder and Sumo 19 monitor recorder switcher during today's demo. We'll now hand over to Jeromy Young and Chris Tait. Jeromy is a co-founder of Atomos and also its CEO and executive director. He has more than 20 years of experience in computer and imaging technology, including developing electronic products in the Japanese video tech industry. Chris has more than 25 years of experience advising local and multinational companies in both the private and public sectors. He's also the co-founder and managing director of Melbourne-based independent advisory firm, Henslow. Over to you both.
Thanks, Laura. So welcome everybody, and on this presentation on Atomos. Laura's already done the introductions there, and also we have with us James Cody, who is our CFO. Just in terms of Atomos, as Laura correctly said, we democratise video. So what does that mean? We are a company that creates groundbreaking technologies that really act as computers that sit on top of cameras and produce high quality video content for content creators. The company's been around for 10 years and has developed some extremely innovative intellectual property, which we'll talk about in this presentation. That is just becoming more and more relevant in the world in which we're all living today. So of course, this presentation today is streamed via Atomos products, and as we are all becoming used to social distancing, Atomos products are becoming more and more relevant. So if we just come on to the next snapshot here of Atomos. Who are we? We're a global company. The core product, as we say, is something that sits on top of a camera, a sort of a mini computer, but we also have a lot of other IP that supports that, and Jeromy will talk about that in a few minutes. Apart from the IP, of course, we've had to develop over the last 10 years relationships with companies all over the world in producing video. We have to link into the companies that have the software that produces video, such as Apple and Adobe, as well as all the Japanese camera companies. And that's no mean feat to create those relationships all over the world with companies such as Nikon, Canon, Sony, Apple and Adobe. So with no further ado, I'll hand across to Jeromy to just talk through those markets in which we operate.
Thank you, Chris. Fantastic. Can I just grab the next slide, please? Awesome. So yeah, basically we sit on top of cameras and do what the camera's not capable of, stepping ahead in technology on a more affordable device, and we've created our own operating system and simple tools to allow content creators to match the level of cinema quality but on a much lower budget, which has helped in enabling the content creation of the next generation as young people coming through trying to produce movies or make their crust by event videography. Now that's adjusted slightly over the last 6 months, but in general what we've done is we've captured high quality onto monitor recorders that allow you to then go and edit easily. So at the same time, we've been developing formats that allow high quality streaming into the internet. We plan those devices to be coming out probably end of next year, and now we've accelerated those to ensure that we can take advantage of the marketplace that is booming right now, which is everyone doing productions themselves at home, or like this, something set up in isolation that allows you to then stream to a lot of different people. So the quality you're seeing today is all because of that technology. And if you just have a look at the product suite, so we've got a 5-inch device that enables RAW and Apple ProRes monitoring and recording at the camera from devices that are sub $2,000 in terms of cameras, imaging cameras. And then we go up to the Shogun, which is a live switcher, like a commercial broadcast quality live switcher, which ends up at about $12.99. The Ninja is around $5.95 US, around $8.95 Aussie. So we're a sub $1,000. You can go to your mum and dad and say, I would like to buy this product and put it together with my Nikon or my Panasonic camera. And then you go up to the Sumo, which is a 19-inch version of the Shogun that allows directors and talent to see their high quality HDR 4K monitoring at the same time as they're recording, which then enables the creativity to happen on set at the time that you're doing it. You don't have to go back to the computer and see the quality that you're getting. And then we've invented the Neon range, which is, again, high quality recording in RAW and full 4K HDR screens that allow you to see it at really high quality. And then we've got broadcast accessories that go into rack mount type of solutions, similar to like an IT environment where you rack mount devices that stay there for the duration of the studio's life. And so there's a lot of different technologies that we've delivered here. We've been at the forefront of HDR technology, which is high brightness and wide dynamic range, which means just wide brightness range so that we can see like the human eye does. All the latest TVs have this type of technology, and we were the first to bring it in 2014 to the market, which allows content creators to record in that quality. So yeah, we've been enabling a lot of the content creators, and if you look at the influencers that we partake in advertising and collaboration with, they're some of the leaders in the world. On to the next slide, please. Yeah, okay, so just to look at our target markets, as we evolve past a phone, and of course the phones are eating more of the lower end cameras, but they have very small sensors and very small lenses, so you can't do things like wide angle and close in at high quality. And we're only watching them on an HD screen, so that's fine for most consumer applications. But as soon as you go to pay money for a video and you want a more professional type of production, that's when you need a better camera, a better lens, much bigger lens and a much bigger sensor. And we're now enabling social media streamers to use better cameras, so their quality of delivery is far higher. Then you go into pro video, where you pay someone like a traditional team that I'm going to show you some behind the scenes today of the team that from Visual Domain who are recording this and streaming it for us at the same time through our products and other cameras. And then we've got the entertainment industry that is obviously at the forefront. They've got the big budgets, they've got the big cameras, and we're copying what they do and pushing it down to the mass market so that the kids that are dreaming about being Stanley Kubrick or Steven Spielberg have the access to the quality that enables them to do that. The next market, you can see at the bottom here, is the streaming market. Now, we are still very limited in what we can deliver quality-wise on streaming platforms. So if you look at YouTube, Facebook, Zoom, Teams, these platforms are still back 10 years ago in the quality that our first Ninja was recording, and at that time they were half the resolution to be able to stream. Now you fast forward 10 years and we're only at HD levels, 30 frames a second usually to keep the bandwidth down. Well, there's something coming along called 5G, and there's optic fiber and faster internet connections being built every day. That will enable 4K HDR quality to be delivered, just like your Netflix and your Apple TVs can deliver to your home today. We can't live stream that. There's no platform that enables that. We see a massive opportunity to go into these markets, and we've been developing that technology in the background. As I said, we've accelerated over the last 6 months in the current streaming friendly environment that is the pandemic going on in the world, and we're really excited about delivering that streaming higher quality and step and repeat in the same way that we delivered cinema quality on top of affordable photo and video cameras.
So as Jeromy said, earlier on this year, as the pandemic hit, we really had a close look at our roadmap. All of the Atomos products are typically used in what we would call a curated video environment. So where people get together on a film set or making an independent movie, they're generally coming together. And obviously that impacted our sales at the start of the year as everyone came to grips with what the impact of the pandemic was. Markets slowed down, distributors started to destock our products, and it had an impact on our business. So we took the steps we needed to in terms of cost savings and cash preservation, and we came up with a clear plan that would put us in a good position with our core business as markets started to return. But we couldn't help but notice the fact that the world was also moving to live streaming. Everyone was going onto Zoom, Teams and so on. It had always been in our roadmap, as Jeromy had said, to develop streaming products, but just as the technology and the infrastructure caught up with the quality of the Atomos products via 5G. That has now been accelerated significantly. And so we took the steps early on in the year that we needed to go and raise capital to allow us to go and grab that opportunity and to accelerate that roadmap. So we went to the market and we raised a further 13 million via a placement and a share purchase plan net of fees, which enables us to go and really capture this market. So this is an acceleration of what was always in our plan. Obviously, COVID impacted us in the short term, but we're now in a very good position where our core markets are coming back, but we have this very significant opportunity around streaming devices. And I'll hand back now to Jeromy just to bring some of what that opportunity is to life.
Yeah, and I'll show you these products in action in a second, but basically we've got a live production system that we've been developing for many years that was very separate to the broadcasting over the internet that is a YouTube or a Facebook Live type of environment. So those markets have been traditionally separate, and during the pandemic they've merged. So you've got everyone now being able to stream or focused on streaming, but there's no differentiation in quality. So professional producers are now having to find ways to improve the quality and the way that they deliver multi-camera angle in a broadcast style. So you don't watch a TV program that's professionally produced without multi-camera angles. You don't watch it without high quality audio switching between people. These were traditionally expensive infrastructures to put in place. At the same time, we were focused on delivering those same technologies in a high quality environment. So we weren't planning on going to the internet until right at the end of the production, once you'd finished curating it, editing it, putting the music over the top, and then you'd send it out or put it up on YouTube for people to watch over and over again. So those two worlds have now merged. So what we can do by adding the streaming capability directly to the internet from our traditional high quality production monitors and recorders, we now add another string to our bow and allows us to move into the space of adding a lot more value to a local production that is then being streamed onto these services in much higher quality. So I want to step over to our products for a second. I'll ask the crew to follow me over. And what I'm showing here is a separate setup of exactly the same environment that we're shooting from. And you can see our team over there are shooting us right now, and we're switching on a different Shogun 7 into that streaming platform. And what I can do here, you'll see the Sumo is the feed out of this Shogun. I've got 4 cameras coming in. I've got James over there. If I want to switch to James, I just touch on and switch. If I want to go to Aaron, hey Aaron, give us a wave. He's our operator for the streaming side through the computer. And this is our team shooting on the 2 camera angles that you see with Chris and James and myself. And then down here, I've got a wide shot on just James and Chris. So what I can do in this environment is I'm now the director. And what you don't see is I've got Aaron sitting there saying, I'm going to go to camera 1 in 3, 2, and flick across so that people can look at the camera. James, look at that camera for me. Excellent. Over here, you got Chris, give us a wave. Excellent. And back to Aaron. So I can switch between, at the same time, I can put graphics in and overlay those graphics onto the device from the disk on the unit. So this is a very affordable, simple broadcast switching system. Now, what it's missing is an internet connection and directly on the unit. And that is what we've been working on. And this is a sneak preview of what a streaming Ninja would look like. And watch this space very, very soon for some big announcements from Atomos. We're not quite ready. It'll be in the next month or so that you see a big announcement from us by adding internet connection to our core base products. So I'm going to head back and we'll show you a bit more of the financials. So just to cover that off, we've got this mass market streaming, our high quality computer on cameras enabling them can now be utilised one more step by internet connecting them. And then we use open protocols to move across and use different platforms. So you choose the platform, and what our goal is to enable higher quality streaming and give the professionals the tools to charge money for this type of stream activity, rather than just the quality that a phone can give you directly to a YouTube Live. There is always a level up, there is always more cameras to have, and there's complications with video and audio production that will now allow the professional to add value. And we plan on offering 4K HDR streaming in online services in addition to our products to enable that for our customers over the next 6 months to a year. And that should enable a lot of recurring revenue for us to move into the space of online cloud-based distribution. We already have the 4K HDR at the front end. Streaming does not allow that today, but with the advent of 5G and faster internet, there is a massive opportunity to move into that in the very short term.
We come to the next slide. Thank you.
So just to cover that off, you've got the cloud-based AI system that our core investors have heard us talk about multiple times. What that is enabling higher quality solutions of video up to the cloud. And now that everyone's streaming, there's a lot of solutions that are becoming more and more affordable. At the same time, professionals and businesses especially are needing to invest in the types of higher quality production to keep their customers engaged and to market and sell their products to them from a distance. We see a big opportunity to have live internet mixed with automation of production to allow the image processing to match cinema to the highest level possible, but based on internet connections that are at a medium to high speed level. So as the world grows in capability in terms of low latency performance, you'll see all the gamers really worried about their performance in playing the game and how quick they can get their information up and back from the internet. This will also drive better quality video and audio recording and production, and that is also a major focus for us, is to enable those events at home that your kids are playing or you're engaging in, and leveling up the quality of the gaming market as well as video production, using more devices, giving you better camera angles, easier ways to switch between them, and then focusing on delivering on a platform where people can pay money for a better service. That is our focus, and we're heavily driving towards it.
So Jeremy's spoken quite a bit there about some of the different technologies we have. Obviously our core product range, as you can see, and the sort of thing that comes to life is our monitor recorder. But in building the monitor recorder, a lot of technology has been built that supports that, which is now ready to be leveraged into many other areas. And as 5G comes along, as Jeromy has talked about there, we can look at cloud-based services and always focusing on that slightly more professional service. But of course, whilst we started off in the professional world, what ultimately happens is professional moves into the general market, into what we call social, the general consumer market. And everyone is now becoming a videographer, and they all want to improve the quality of what they do, and they want the tools to enable them to do that. And Atomos is ideally placed to capture that opportunity. And one way I'll try and bring this to life by way of example is to talk through the Timecode Systems opportunity. So Timecode Systems was a company that we bought at the end of last calendar year. It was a company that its major investor had a number of investors, but included Guy Berryman, the bass guitarist in Coldplay, who had the vision that everyone would be able to turn up at a Coldplay concert and be able to use their iPhones to take video of the concert and then produce a video that was seamlessly integrated. They would not be able to do that without the timecode systems technology. As Jeromy was showing you the set a bit earlier, you would have noticed a lot of cables joining up all the cameras. That is because they have to all be on the same timecode, and timecode systems allows that to happen wirelessly. So effectively, Guy Berryman and other investors wanted to back the company to ultimately be able to achieve that goal of people being able to shoot that video from a number of angles, hundreds and thousands of angles, effectively at a Coldplay concert. So we bought that company and the patents that came with it with a view of integrating it into our technologies, but also getting a number of our partners. Remember I talked earlier about the fact that our partners included the likes of Sony, Panasonic, Nikon, Canon, but to get a number of our partners around the world to also put it in all of their equipment so that all of those products can then be integrated. Think, if you like, of an ecosystem like a Dante by Ordinate, a similar kind of vision around those products, around the timecode systems product. This has become even more relevant, and I'll give you an example. When you are on a Zoom call and you have two devices near the Zoom call, you'll get feedback. Why is that? It's because of those products are not synchronized. So if those products had the timecode systems patent technology in it, you would not get that feedback. That opens up a whole load of opportunities around multiple microphones and improving the quality around Zoom and Teams calls, etc. So that gives a little bit of an example of the timecode systems opportunity, but I wouldn't want you to think that that is the only one. We have many other technologies in the suite, our own chip, our own operating system, and many other things underneath the bonnet which we will be progressively be bringing to market in different products and services over the years to come. So with no further ado, back to Jeromy.
Okay, so Chris has mentioned the partnerships that allow us to enable our products, because we are an accessory to cameras. And why we do that is our focus is on what happens to the image after the point of recording. And what it does to me, what it does to the customer, is allow them to pick whichever brand they like. If you look at some of the things on this slide, Panasonic, Canon, Sony, Nikon, lenses. People spend a lot of money on lenses and then they choose the body that they want to put their lenses on. They make big investments. These are $10,000, $15,000, sometimes upward of $50,000 in a lens. The body of a camera has become quite affordable compared to the lens systems that are being used. Sigma, big lens company. FUJIFILM, big lens company. Canon, big lens company. Panasonic have Leica that they team up with for lenses. And the Japanese companies know that lenses are the way that people actually get the quality to capture their image. So what we do is we piggyback off the lens systems and then we offer the best quality of recording and editing and monitoring from that. And so those partnerships are extremely important. At the same time, that file then goes into an editing system, whether it be an Apple, an Adobe, or the top editing systems in the world, as well as post-production systems that bring the movie quality together and allow you to move high quality files around. That's where we've been. We've partnered with Dolby Vision to allow HDR to TVs in the home for professionals to record in that quality, see what it's going to look like on nice big screens, and then get it right before they send it to Netflix or to Apple TV for streaming to the home. Now, the next step in that is to partner with the internet streaming platforms. So we're in the middle of negotiating with those companies how we get our high quality formats up to them. Whatever they aren't capable of today, we'll find innovative ways to bring that to market ourselves. And as they get more and more accustomed to higher quality video at larger bit rates and the internet global capability increases, then we'll see a lot of opportunity to offer those same services to the big players. So you think about us as we offer it first, we make good profit from that advanced technology delivery to our professional customers, and then we offer that capability to the larger technology companies globally who are behemoths, the Amazons, the Apples, the Adobes of the world, that will bring those solutions to the mass market when the mass market can handle it. And we're offering those services previous and offering the professional the ability to record, stream and monitor in those higher qualities way before the mass market can pick them up, so that they can offer an advantage to their group of customers. So it's a very exciting time for us as we leverage what we've done in the cinema and professional video world into the higher end of the consumer market.
James, if you could just take us through the financials.
Sure. So the revenue for FY20 was about $44.5 million, which we think was a pretty reasonable result under the circumstances. Obviously, COVID, as you've heard, had a big impact on us, but our second half revenue, which sort of hovered around that $2 million a month mark, we're now seeing some positive signs that that's beginning to come back. I think it's probably worth remembering that the rest of the world isn't quite in the same situation as Melbourne, thankfully, so we're seeing some of those markets open up. And to give you an indication of how that's coming back, in July the revenue was about 50% up on that sort of first half run rate. So we're cautiously optimistic at this stage that things are going to come back to normal over the course of the next few months. And those early signs are without the benefit of having released any new products yet. So pretty pleased with that. And the work that we undertook earlier in the year to sort of bring our cost base down and to also unwind the inventory position that we talked about previously when we met with you has sort of all come to fruition quite nicely, such that we'll certainly be a much more profitable company when the revenue does come back to sort of pre-COVID levels. And we finish FY20 with $19 million of cash in the bank and a $5 million facility which is undrawn at this stage. So we think that we're poised quite nicely for the growth to come back over the next few months.
Thanks, James. So, Jeromy?
Yeah, so just to give people who aren't as maybe familiar with the Atomos story, 2010 we released our first Ninja product, which recorded Steve Jobs' ProRes format on top of the camera. I asked if I could have that from Apple and they said yes, which was a very big win for us. We then brought Avid and Adobe's formats onto monitors and recorders, and we were the first to do it. Then Canon and Nikon opened up their ecosystem to us, which saw us gain a lot more momentum. We're a market leader in bringing 4K in 2014. I mean, everyone's watching 4K now on their Netflix, but that's 6 years ago, was the enabling of the professional to be able to deliver that at a good, affordable cost. HDR TVs are in the market for the last 3 or 4 years. We've been offering that for 5 years. It's about a 2-year lead that we need to be ahead of the market, consumer market, to enable the content that's created that you then watch on that technology. It's a pretty simple metric, but that's our job, is to enable those things faster and earlier. And more recently, we've been enabling larger monitors for the directors to be able to see these high quality images on what is close to what the TVs are capable of in the living room. Because if you watch it on a small screen, you don't know how it's going to look on the big screen. Very simple metrics. We're just offering the tools that allow them to do that. And more recently, just like photography moved to the creative manipulation of raw images as opposed to JPEGs, where you've got a lot more latitude in the image, videos moved to the same raw ecosystem, and we partnered with Apple to be their exclusive partner on a format called ProRes RAW, which is the next iteration of their #1 recording format. And so we're very proud to bring over 20 customers in terms of camera makers to that ecosystem, and they need to buy an Atomos product to enable the RAW from their photo video camera. The latest ones are Panasonic's latest photo camera does RAW to our Ninja 5, as well as Sony's big announcement last week, which is the biggest selling mirrorless camera in the world for photo and video, and we're the exclusive partner to enable RAW from that camera. Again, offering more functions if the customer buys our unit. So we love being the first. We're going to be the first in a lot of other areas in the next 6 months to a year, and we're really excited to be bringing that same type of approach to the internet streaming environment.
So thank you, Jeromy. So just as a bit of a summary here, we've got a great company with fantastic technology, and you can see also a very strong management team. If I just have a quick look at the management team down there on the left, you'll see that the CEO, CFO and CTO are based here in Melbourne. And then we've got the Global Sales Director, Stefan Kexel, based over in Germany. We have Now, who's our Chief Design Officer, who's based up in Japan. He's from Sony originally, and then Frankie, who produces all of our products sort of out of China and Taiwan, who's based up in China. So we've got a global team, people around the world with this head office here in Melbourne, a really great team who are achieving some really groundbreaking things in the world of video. In terms of the company and our sort of performance, there's always been a long-term vision of bringing our IP to market in different ways. Initially through our products that we sell, the monitor recorder and other products that go with it. But hopefully this presentation has brought to life the fact that that core IP has a much greater opportunity beyond that as well. And that was always in our roadmap. And in the long run, think of Atomos very much as that company that democratizes video. And video will be produced all over the world by different people in different environments, via software, via the cloud in the future. We're not there yet. The quality of the internet is not strong enough, but Atomos has the tools to enable that, because we've been in video for the last 10 years, building the technologies and the products to enable these things to happen. We have a great brand that is understood and loved by pro video users and is increasingly being accepted and used by social videos. So the opportunity is strong. Obviously, tough times at the start of this year as COVID bit, but we're now very excited about even the very near term with the products that we've got lined up for the balance of the year. Jeremy's talked about the streaming products. He's talked about the Sony Alpha, the announcement we made, and our monitor recorder that sits on top of that. And we're already seeing, even without those product launches, the market's coming back on our core range. So we believe the near future is exciting, and we believe the long-term future is even more so. So with no further ado, I'll finish up there and hand back, I think, to Laura for some questions.
Thank you so much, guys, for that very informative explanation of the business as well as the demonstration. That was very handy to see in real time. We do have some questions around the products and also the IP. So maybe to start with the IP, you have touched on that and said, you know, you do have first mover advantage in a lot of cases. You started talking to Apple, for example, back in 2014, I think you said, and really big brand partnerships there. So how exactly does Atomos secure its IP in this day and age? And maybe if you could also go into a bit more detail around whether the Atomos IP covers smartphones as well.
Yeah, so I think I'll take that one, Chris.
Sure.
How we get access to our IP, there's a couple of ways. We stay ahead by implementing standards first. So they're not yet in consumer devices. So for example, 4K HDMI is something anyone can implement. However, to do it in a low cost efficient manner, you need some pretty excellent engineers, and that's what Atomos have. So we bring those technologies first. So there's a lead in time. There's IP in the efficiency of the implementation onto low-cost chips and platforms that allow us to beat competitors to market in both price and performance. And at the same time, we go to our technology partners in Silicon Valley, like Apple and Adobe, and we say, look, we want to enable your software. They then give us a license to their format that performs beautifully inside their software. So we take that IP and we put it into our devices and allow that user to have access, minus a computer, to that format. And then they take that file and they put it into the software of choice. And we've been very successful at enabling that. So where is the IP? Well, first of all, that license is very difficult to get. Number two, we need to put it into an affordable format so that we're the first to market and it's the lowest cost implementation while maintaining good profit, which is always our goal. And then the third part of it is that it's read and able to be used in lots and lots of different software. So then we work with other makers, not just the Apples and the Adobes, to allow them to use that software and then bring extra function that the cameras are not capable of into the file. So for example, automation of face detection, automation from big cameras, not just phones, allows those features to be put into a big production. So that's one of the ways that we lead. In terms of the phones, we capture from phones, we capture better quality than the phones are capable of. So internally, they don't record high data rate, big quality inside the phone. They're mainly concerned with playing back on their screens and streaming it to the internet. That's their goal. Now, the images are cleaned up a lot, they look pretty good, but they break up once you go to a bigger monitor, once you go to a larger screen. That's why cinema production is done on bigger cameras. That's the basic fact. Now, where we fit in is we can integrate the phone recording at a much higher data rate, at much better quality in 4K, much better resolution than what they stream out, and then we can integrate that with cinema cameras. So we're offering the ability to have your second or third or fourth or fifth cameras, which is becoming more and more important to bring that richness of experience, like a video production, like a television studio production, to the mass market. So yes, we integrate with phones. We also have the ability to stream to phones, should the device have Wi-Fi or Ethernet capability. And then we've also got the ability to add value by recording separately to then bring those recordings together for the final production. So that's how we integrate with phones, and that's how we get our IP lead, by leveraging our partnerships globally.
Thanks for clarifying that. And just in the interest of time, guys, I might just ask one more question today. How is your Ninja V supply going? Is it exceeding demand or meeting demand? Could you maybe give us a little bit of detail around that?
Yeah, for sure. So our Ninja 5 sales, due to the raw releases that we've done over the last few months, are exceeding our lower volume COVID expectations, which has been great. That's what James referred to as the increase in revenue over the last 6 months that we're seeing just gone in July. And we're seeing that demand continue in the first few days of August, which is great. At the same time, the production is in good supply. We now have, China's back online, which is great. Taiwan's back online. We have 2 manufacturers to mitigate the obviously tax issues into America and keep our foot half in, half out of the Chinese issues, so we can turn on more and more production separately to China. And we also have other options with third parties that we've negotiated should that need arise. So we don't see any screen supply problems, we don't see any chip supply problems because they're mainly American suppliers, and we don't have any component issues other than a little bit longer lead times to order. So we have to be a bit more efficient. 3 to 4 months now, James, I think is the lead time for our products.
Yeah, that's right.
But we're not seeing any 6-month or 8-month kind of issues like we were at the beginning of the year. So we're pretty comfortable we can supply those products, and our new product lines, we've already secured that production, and that's one of the important parts of bringing a product to market, which is why we went to our very supportive shareholders to ask for extra capital at the beginning of the year to allow us to then produce these and invest in the hardware capital, and at the same time in the technology underlying it that allows us to sell more volume.
Thanks, Jeromy, Chris and James, and we look forward to following along as more of your markets come back online too. And also, thanks again for hosting us here today with all your equipment. It's a great setup. Up next at 11:30, we have a company that will be listing on the ASX this coming Friday. That is 4D Medical. Stay tuned, head to the website to register, or of course you can always register through the link in the chat bot that has just popped up. Thank you.